Hi there, and welcome to the Play Therapy Circle. Before we begin, please note this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only. It does not provide therapeutic advice, and listening does not create a client-therapist relationship. All views expressed are my own, and any case examples shared have been de-identified to protect privacy. If you're seeking personal support, please reach out to a qualified mental health professional in your area. Hi, and welcome to an episode of the Play Therapy Circle. I'm Kylie Ellison, a therapist, clinical supervisor, and play therapy trainer, and I'm so grateful you're here. This podcast is a space for thoughtful, soulful conversations about child-centered therapy, play-based work, and what it means to show up with presence and compassion, both for our clients and for ourselves. Whether you're a seasoned play therapist, a student just starting out, or someone deeply passionate about working with children, you belong here. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Play Therapy Circle podcast. I'm your host, Kylie Ellison, and I am so glad you are here. Happy Wednesday, you guys. I am literally recording this on a Wednesday. If anyone follows the vlog that I post on our therapy page, so not the podcast page, but another page. I had every intention of doing this yesterday. It did not happen. But this is growth, you guys. It's like 3:30 in the afternoon. I'm recording it on a Wednesday. Like, we're getting better slowly. I think I've mentioned this before, but I have like a crazy May, like crazy traveling May. So you guys are going to come on location with me. I'm not even joking. Each week I'm somewhere different for 4 weeks. So that's going to be interesting. I'm very excited because it's going to be connecting with so many people in the space of learning about play therapy. So I'm so excited about that, but I am not the best traveler. So like I was talking to a few supervisees this morning because I have never been to this part of Australia before. So I am like, oh my gosh, what do I wear and what do I pack? Because if anyone knows Brisbane and Queensland, you would know it's hot and sunny all the time. All the time. So we get like a week of winter and that's it. So there we are. I am going to be starting to get ready for that in the next little while. And I am celebrating my birthday on Friday, so I'm having a day off. So that's very exciting. Doing all of the things. My family is taking me to the football. So anyone listening internationally, you may not know what rugby league is, but I am a huge Broncos fan. So I'm very excited to get to go to the football on Friday night. And so in true style, because I don't think anyone that's been listening to me for a while knows that I am not good at keeping to my agenda of what I'm going to do for the podcast episode. So I literally just changed it this afternoon. Love that. So I did have a plan to talk about kids when they present in the playroom as essentially dissociative and what that means in terms of the work that we do. And so I have that ready to go. That is definitely an important episode. But something a little bit more important kind of came up today. So a little bit more of a reflective episode for you all, and also an empowerment and a hope episode for you all as well. So I'm going to take you on a slightly different subject today. Before I go any further, I want to again acknowledge our incredible international listeners that we have in our Play Therapy Circle community. We are still in, I don't know if it was the same last week, but we're still steady at 67 countries of listeners across the globe who tune in each week to our Play Therapy Circle podcast. So if you are coming from anywhere other than Australia, I am so grateful that you are listening, but also all of our incredible Australian listeners who are supporting our podcast as well. I hope that you are finding it helpful and useful. That is always my intention. But today is going on a bit of a different flavour, which, that's how things go with this stuff, right? tackling all aspects of child-centered play therapy. So I don't think that I would be doing it any justice if we didn't talk about and reflect about this particular topic today. And I did actually do a previous episode on similar content, which I don't normally double up in terms of content, when I was overseas the end of last year, episode 20. So feel free to go back and listen to that one. But this episode, and I always find usually with my topics each week, it's something related to my real-time practice experience. And I think that that's really important. If you've got, and you're listening to a podcast about a topic, you want to know that the person who is talking has some knowledge and understanding of what they're discussing. So I definitely can talk to firsthand experience in this space. And I think it's an important topic for anyone really beginning in the field or potentially currently in the field and navigating this as well. So I don't know if this is going to resonate. I have a feeling it will. I don't know if this is going to resonate with anyone, but if anyone in the helping profession has ever had those moments of feeling like you're not quite good enough, and this is an important topic because especially when it comes to working and supporting children and families, us as professionals can often feel that sense of needing to feel credentialed, feel like we are qualified, that we are trained, that we have an understanding, that we have a duty of care and ethical codes of conduct to be able to practice in a safe and appropriate manner. So I think that, we will have those experiences, and this is very top of mind for me, where you will feel like you're just not quite the right kind, or you're just not good enough is essentially what can happen in this space. And I want to talk to that today because I think that that is an experience where you doubt yourself, where you doubt, am I going to be able to enter into this space and do this work, regardless of kind of the profession, the helping field as a whole. It really can be something that can impact you significantly, and it's important that we talk about it. I think it's something when we talk about imposter syndrome that people feel it, but they don't necessarily want to say it because, again, it's the whole idea of imposter syndrome, right? That we don't want other people to know that we feel like we're not good enough as well. And we can certainly see that in more of an outward space if we are, trying to prove our worth or, trying to promote ourselves as a way of essentially trying to help to support our position that we feel like we should be in this space. So I want to talk a little bit about that today. I think it's a big topic and I have a lot, I guess, I want to unpack here. So we'll see how we go and what journey and direction it heads in, right? Because this is always about our humanistic approach to therapy is also relevant in the podcast space. So I think it's important for us to define imposter syndrome because that's where we're starting this conversation, right? And regardless of whether you are locally or abroad, I know that universal experience of feeling like you're not good enough, that persistent feeling that you might not necessarily be enough, even though you can demonstrate your competence. It's an interesting term because we know historically it came out in kind of the 1970s and was particularly in high achieving women that this concept first emerged, right? And that core experience really of attributing your success to luck or to timing rather than your own capabilities and fearing that one day someone might find out that you're not good enough. And I feel like that is a universal experience regardless of your profession. So why, though, is the helping profession somewhere where this certainly can live and breed in terms of imposter syndrome? Our work is in the playroom. Our work is in the therapy space with clients. It's not something that we can necessarily,
say externally, if we're kind of moving into a different space, like a builder who can prove that they built a house. We can't give that evidence in a visual sense, in a real sense, because we're working in a space where we're helping others. So we are our own instruments when it comes to our professional interventions and services that we offer. And so when the work is hard, it can feel personal in a way, if as it wouldn't in necessarily other fields. So many of us also carry with us our own experiences, and that's why in this space we often talk about personal therapy, and your own kind of work in this space, because it's very important that we're taking care of us when we're holding big stories for children in the playroom as well. And I think that very often those that move into the helping profession as adults were very caring, very sensitive kids when they were younger. And so obviously it's great traits for us when we have that connection, and able to, notice that sense from our own empathy skills and values and traits, that we can then connect with others in a way that is incredibly important for the work that we do, but something that's very difficult to show tangibly. So, imposter syndrome, I want to kind of give that distinction of feeling like I'm not good enough, I don't deserve this. There's that element of it versus more of, say, a growth edge where we're saying, I'm learning, these are things I don't know yet, I can keep developing. So the idea is, I guess, to examine what is this really about when we are feeling that sense of imposter syndrome. Is it an area for growth, or is it actually something we're feeling within ourselves? So the feeling is common and it's universal and it's a human experience. And the problem is when we let that feeling become the authority on our worth, when we let it kind of take over. And I'm holding in mind so many stories of people I've connected with over the years, both in our community and abroad, where when we doubt ourselves and when we allow that feeling of that imposter syndrome to really be the authority and define our worth, that we then step into spaces or make decisions that don't necessarily align with our values, but are kind of dictated by that feel. So it's so important that we're noticing this imposter syndrome when it comes up, and really, I guess, identifying those ways that we can address it and support ourselves. And so much of that, when we really think about it, is about giving ourselves compassion, because we're really being hard on ourselves, right? When we feel that sense of imposter syndrome, we're feeling like we're not good enough. What would we do with children in the playroom? We're obviously not going to fix it. We're not going to give them a solution. We just really, those children in the playroom, sorry, when we're working with them, we're seeking that support, that validation, that healing space for them to be able to work through the challenges that they're experiencing in real time, and to be seen and heard. It's the same, I believe, because I always say I work with children of all ages. I think for us as adults as well, it certainly is that space where we're looking for, and I think one of the key mitigators, or ways or antidotes. Oh my God, I'm saying the wrong thing. Antidotes to that is connection and is community. And that was certainly part of my process today, where I really sought value in those that I hold so highly to feel seen and heard. And it really is that antidote that I was looking for. So I want to talk a little bit about what we're mentioning here in terms of that imposter syndrome. Let's break it down a little bit more, because sometimes we can think about it as like the inner critic and the outer chorus. So let's talk about the inner critic a little bit. So it's a very familiar voice for us, especially for us perfectionists over here. Anyone who's a perfectionist, hello. It definitely can be that's for sure, where we have had this trait or inner voice long before we went to uni and did our degrees and did our training, and then, got out into the field and started practicing. It can definitely feel like that voice is saying, you shouldn't be here, you're not good enough, someone's going to find out that you're not good enough, and it can be something that can really impact you when you are listening to that inner critic. So it's definitely traceable. You can usually connect it to certainly earlier in life experiences. And like I said, I work with children of all ages. So I feel like every adult that I connect with, you almost, and I think this is how play therapy infiltrates parts of my life. I feel like when you meet adults, you often meet the inner child as well. So you can almost, through sort of talking to them and connecting with them, have an understanding of potentially, not always, but potentially start to build an understanding of what their formative years experiences might have been. And so that makes it deeply personal when it comes to each individual therapist doing their own work, doing their own internal work, through reflection, through supervision, through group connections, and through your own personal therapy that helps you to kind of better understand and help really work through that, because that's so important. The difference, and I'm giving that kind of segue then to talk about, the inner critic versus the outer chorus. So this can feel a little bit like the voice of kind of external messages, external expectations, external standards, or comparisons. So it's not one specific source. It just kind of feels like a general kind of hum, like a general kind of sense in a particular community. So sometimes it's kind of a voice, sometimes it's patterns across years of experiences that you might encounter that give you that message, and it's across all professions. It's not just in one sector. We experience this everywhere, so it's absolutely real. It's not imagined, and those external voices often are part of that experience in our professional life, of that feeling of not being good enough. So I think the inner critic, how do we start to begin to address this? This is what I kind of wanted to talk about today. The inner critic needs that compassion, self-compassion, and empathy. Needs that compassion, empathy, reflective practice, connecting with self. That's so important. The outer chorus, I guess, is slightly different, because when we talk about, and we talk about this a lot in child-centered play therapy, around the internal versus external locus of control. So what's within our circle of influence, that's our inner critic, right? Because that's our feelings, our thoughts, our emotions, and how we can best support ourselves, give ourselves that compassion. External to us is somewhat outside of our control. What other people think and other people do and say. We say that to clients all the time. That's a very common theory in our area of work. So when we're talking about imposter syndrome, it's definitely similar. So I think there is an opportunity for us when we do experience this to really get clear about what we believe in as individuals, what is our personal values, and what do we want to, connect with, because that's so important to decide what is it that you want to lead with, to help you to mitigate that sometimes outer chorus that we experience. So when you're not feeling good enough, I invite you guys to pause and ask, which voice is this? Is it, that familiar inner critic, or is it maybe that outer chorus? Because once we name it, then we can kind of work from there, right? And here's the freeing part about all of this. Neither of those voices get to be the final word on who you are. Let me say that again, because I need to hear this today too. The freeing part is that neither of those voices, either the inner critic or the outer chorus, get to be the final word on who you are. Whew. Let's talk about it a bit more. Let's unpack it. So when we're talking about the inner critic and the outer voice that can dominate, there's a third voice, and the one that finally gets to speak, and that's your own values. So the most important question to ask as a practitioner is, what do I value? And that really can help you lead from there. And it certainly has been part of my experience as well. But it's deciding, what do you value in this space? So is it not that I want, or not what do I want people to approve of me? Because that's the outer chorus, right? The outer critic. What do I genuinely believe about how children heal? So what am I truly aligned with? And I often say that with my introductory workshop that I do in CCPT and the training program as well, that it's not by chance that we have connected as a cohort of students and trainer, that there is moments that are unique to each individual that have brought them to that point of connecting with me in that training, because those values around hearing children's stories, valuing their natural mode of communication being play, all of those things bring us to that point where we say, I'm looking for something different other than just, say, talk-based therapies. So that's so important to recognize and really, establish within yourself is, what do I genuinely believe about how children heal? How therapists should be trained? That's a great question to ask. And how our profession should treat each other. And I think that that's something that is deeply personal and certainly goes to your own experiences. And so I can only talk to mine. And I think the biggest thing for me that I value is absolutely a supportive, inclusive community. I think that that is absolutely essential when we are working in these spaces. And I'm literally coming from my playroom today, our clinic, but my playroom, where I get the privilege every day to connect and hear children's stories and do this incredible work. And it's heavy and it's hard, and sometimes it's really tough, and sometimes it's really rewarding, but we can't do this work alone. That really is such an important element of our profession, is making sure that we can connect with like-minded professionals, that we can connect with those that we can certainly help support each other and lift each other up, because that's what it's all about, because this is empowering work. This is such sacred work, and it's just so important that we feel that support ourselves while we're serving kids in our playrooms every day. So I think it's really important to kind of acknowledge, I guess, that certainly, and for those of you kind of listening internationally, I think more broadly, my emphasis to everyone listening is, do your research, kind of look around, find what works for you, look at all of the options to becoming a play therapist in Australia, because there are so many options out there, and it is so important that you find the one that aligns for you. And I think that everyone goes on a journey to find that, and that's so important. So I want to offer, I guess, these reflections when we're talking about finding your people and finding your community. I want to offer these reflections to you. And this first one is really important for me. I've been doing child-centered play therapy now for 11 years. So I definitely say when I am running training that I'm absolutely still in my early stages of my career. I have a long way to go. But I want to emphasize this question around asking each of you listening, when I imagine myself at the end of my career, what do I want to be known for? What a powerful question to kind of put to each individual practitioner around, what do I want to be known for? And what makes me feel most alive when I'm doing this therapeutic work? What do I love the most about what I'm doing? What have I seen in our profession, or what has been my experience? It just doesn't sit right. It just doesn't necessarily align for me. And if I was seeking that kind of approval, would that still work for me if it didn't align for me? And what do my clients and the children and families I work with need from someone like me? What are they truly looking for when we are connecting and serving in our communities each and every day? These questions are really important to kind of begin to understand, I guess, where we want to go in terms of our individual careers. When you are clear about what you value, that approval, I guess, that external kind of outer chorus becomes nice to have rather than need to have, because we get really kind of clear about what is it that's important to us, what gives us the passion and drive each day to come to work and, connect with kids in the playroom and do what we love the most. That outer chorus then tends to quieten down, because it's no longer that voice that matters to us. And I think that that's really important. I think that everyone goes on a journey to find their place in the world. I think we go through so many learning experiences along the way. And I think it's really important to constantly have reflective practice. And I've certainly had experiences over the years where I've reflected and gone, yep, that doesn't align with me anymore. I want to connect with what values are true to me and lead with that. And I feel like in this week of me turning 43 now, like that has definitely been something that, in my 40s has been a big deal, a really big deal of who do I want to be and what kind of practitioner do I want to be? What kind of practice do I want to have? And where do I want to end up? And that's really important, I think, because that then helps guide you in terms of where you go and who you connect with and who you don't necessarily align with. And that can be in any space. And that's about being true to yourself. It's getting really clear about who you are, what matters to you, and what's important to you. And then kind of taking yourself into the community and going from there. So this is not certainly something that, comes easily or naturally. And I know that it is so much around self-reflection, personal therapy, hard work, all of those things, supervision, all those things help to really develop that professional maturity that's grounded in your values first and foremost, because that's the most important thing at the end of the day. So how do we find our people is my question to you. It can definitely feel in any profession, but especially the helping profession, when it's so important for us to adhere to our code of ethics that we abide by, that it can feel very lonely. And that isolation can really drive that imposter syndrome 100,000%. So if that's true, if that kind of isolation causes us to have that imposter syndrome, the reverse is also true, you guys. So finding your community is one of the most protective factors in your whole career from imposter syndrome and burnout. If you find your tribe, if you find your community. And I'm here to say there is a community out there for everyone. Let me say it again. There is a community out there for everyone. This is so important, you guys. This is not hypothetical. This isn't a maybe. I truly hold this value and belief dear, that every practitioner who has ever felt like they didn't quite fit anywhere, your people exist. They are out there, and often they're looking for you too. Oh, let me read that again. Every practitioner who has ever felt like they didn't quite fit anywhere, your people exist. They are out there, and often they're looking for you too. So, how do we recognize our people and our community? Spaces that leave you feeling expanded and empowered and enriched instead of small. Conversations where questions are welcomed, not judged or shut down. That's really important to remember. People who want you to flourish, not people who are threatened by your success. Ooh. And leaders, this is, I think, the most important part. Leaders who lift others, not who guard their territory. That's a big one. So, a community built around shared values is held together by something much stronger, a genuine alignment in what matters, which is so important. And when you find your community, the imposter syndrome gets quieter, which is good because you're surrounded by people who see you, who see what you do and believe in what you do. And I have to say, in having that moment today, I am just so grateful for the community that I have and the people around me who remind me and, value my contributions, and everything that I do is just Oh, it is just so wonderful and so important to have people, and I'm just so, so grateful. I have the most amazing team, like truly, and I can't say that enough. And I have truly such a beautiful community of practitioners who also uplift me each and every day. And that is so important, you guys, because no one is immune to imposter syndrome. I think that's really important. If I'm 11 years in, and I'm sometimes still having that imposter syndrome, it's something that happens across your career. It's just how you work to mitigate that. And I felt so called to do this episode today because I do know, especially in the beginning, for beginning practitioners in the space, that it can sometimes feel overwhelming and you can sometimes feel that imposter syndrome if you don't necessarily tick the boxes or are certainly looking at different ways to become a play therapist. And I just think it's so important to pay attention and pay close attention to who makes you feel more like yourself, not less. And reach out to those practitioners whose work resonates, because they are people that you are very likely going to connect positively with. Most will respond warmly because they want to connect as well. Find your peer groups, your supervision circles, and your communities with values that you hold. So if you're early in your career and you're feeling lost, your people exist. Keep looking. It's worth the search. Truly. And even to those in different helping communities, if you're feeling lost, keep looking. Your community is absolutely out there. So if today was a hard day for you, and we're here, you guys, maybe today was a little bit of a hard day for me. It started off good, but then it became hard. If you're doubting where you belong, the fact that you care this much about belonging in the right way is itself evidence that you belong. Practitioners who don't care don't ask these questions. So it shows that this really matters to you. And that's so important. So, so important. So when you feel not enough, to kind of round out this episode, notice which voice you are hearing. Is it your inner critic or the outer critic? Get clear about what you value and not just what you stand against. And find your people. Look for values, and if you can't find them, build them yourself. But you will find that community. That community exists for you. Give yourself time if you're struggling. Find the people who remind you who you are and believe in you. And know that you are destined for incredible things because you truly are aligned. And decide from there what that looks like for you. I want to finish this episode. It certainly had a different flavor to how we would normally do sessions, but I really felt it was important to share this information for anyone out there experiencing that imposter syndrome, that you are not alone. Your values are important. They ground you into who you are. Your path is valid, and your community is out there. Your community is out there. Oh, thank you so much for listening today. I would love to know if this resonated with you. We are on social media. So we're on Instagram, we are on TikTok, and we are on Facebook. We also have our podcast on YouTube, as well as on Apple, Spotify, and wherever you get your good podcasts. So please check us out and follow along so that you get the drop every Friday when we have a new episode. If you're looking for your community, we have a free circle community. So please check out our socials for more information. We would love to connect with you there. My message to you all is absolutely that you are all doing incredibly amazing work, and what you do matters, and you matter. So I am so grateful that you guys are here and that you've stuck out this episode. Thank you so much for being here. Look after yourselves and each other. Be kind to yourselves and each other. And I will catch you next time in the playroom again. Bye for now.
Thank you so much for being here for another episode of the Play Therapy Circle. If anything resonated with you today, I'd love it if you could follow the podcast, share it with a colleague, or leave a short review. It really helps others find our circle. And if you have a topic or question you'd love me to explore, I'd love to hear from you. This space is for you, and I want it to feel like a conversation. Until next time, take care of yourself, and remember, you belong here.